So this is true in every war game, and certainly it's true in Battletech. We all have our favorite mechs, vehicles, planes. I love the Demolisher tank. When I can align up the stars and play that Demolisher as it's intended to be played, cover, support, getting it up point blank to your mech, opening up with dual AC-20s, and I'm rocking 2 or 3 Demolishers, you can't argue with the results. It's beautiful. Or in City Fight, where we've got some infantry and we've got some mechs hanging out in buildings, taking cover. They're really dug in. I roll up the 3 Demolishers and just level those buildings. When you can level a building in one shot and you're taking out 3 or 4 buildings a turn, that's pretty impressive. That said, I know the limitations of the Demolisher, and the title of this vlog podcast, Manticore, is not wrong. But I'm using the Demolisher to kind of illustrate and lead us into this discussion here, Tactica discussion. The Demolisher, when it isn't played right, it's an open field, and I tend to bring the mechs and the vehicles that I like to play at this point, and I try to make them work. But I do acknowledge in certain situations, you're in a lot of trouble. A recent game out on kind of open ground, a couple of crops, a couple of small buildings, level 1 buildings, and a little patch of forest. My Demolishers are like just done. Rush them forward as fast as you can, but they're in a lot of trouble. On the opposite end, that tank. Is there a tank out there in Battletech? We've already kind of given away the spoiler, but is there a tank out there in Battletech that is just solid? For those missions where you don't want to spend a ton of battle value, so we're looking at 1,000 points or less, and you don't know what mission you're going to face, you don't know what mission you're going to play, you don't know what the terrain's going to be like, and you don't really know what mechs or combined arms your opponent might play. And you start to think, well, what should I bring? I believe for anti-tank, anti-vehicle, and anti-mech, the Manticore is always a solid choice. Now, there might be some better dedicated choices, anti-mech choices. There's some better anti-vehicle choices, but the Manticore just excels. It just is solid on there, and it's always going to put down the firepower. It's always going to put down and earn the battle value. I believe you can't go wrong selecting it. Okay, so my thought process behind this. We want this kind of rating scale of 1 to 5, 1 being not so great, 5 being great. I kind of have these internal categories, this checklist of speed, armor, firepower in terms of weapon output, matching ranges, different things that it can do, and battle value. So obviously you can get something really fast, really armored up, and really powerful with weapons. That can be all 4s and 5s, but the battle value is going to be like through the roof on there. You could have things that are less, not as potent. So back and forth we're kind of going here. I rate the Manticore like 3-3, 4-3. It's just solid across there. Good speed for what it has, decent armor for what it has, a great weapons loadout, and under 1,000 battle value. What is it, 933? To get the equivalent armor and weapons on a mech, you're looking at what, 12 to 1,500 battle value? Okay, so what do we have? Long range, I start opening up with that PPC. That's going to put the hurt on a vehicle. That's going to put the hurt on a mech. That's got some bite to it. 10 points, even if you're not a big guns player, you prefer kind of like medium lasers and a lot of little lasers on there to try and force crits. 10 points has some bite. We've got the LRM 10-pack, so we've got the kind of the long-range punch out there. 10-pack, in my opinion, is the minimum with it, because if I roll really well, I'm going to soak you for around 10 damage on there, or maybe a little bit less. If I don't roll well, then the damage is going to be nothing, a couple of points on there. Average roll, so. Of course, look, I'd love to have a 15 or a 20 pack, because if I roll legendary, you're just going to be smoked. You're going to eat 20 missiles right in your face or your mech or whatever it's going to be. If I don't roll so well, it's still going to be the equivalency of a 15 or a 10 pack on there. Incidentally, a 5 pack, my Thorn mech that I run, and other 5 LRM pack mechs versus say autocannon mechs, they're different. They're skirmishers. or something like the Grasshopper where you're going in before you close, you've got that LRM 5-pack in the skull just like so you can do something out there. But we have 2 long-range weapons that are going to put that out. Now as we close to medium range and short range, you've got a medium laser and you've got a short-range missile 6-pack on there. That's got a little bit of a punch too. But because of the vehicle rules, I don't have to worry about the minimums for the LRM-10 or the PPC, which means I'm going to be firing those at long range. I'm going to be firing them at medium range, and at short to under range, I'm still going to fire them. At point blank range, I'm going to have 2 weapons, the SRM 6-pack and the medium laser, that will be unhindered, put out some decent damage. If I roll average, 1 or 2 will hit and cause damage. And then the kind of free shots from the PPC and the LRM-10 at point blank, I'm probably not going to hit. But just on the dice odds, if they favor me, if I do hit, that's 1 or 2 of those weapons hitting pretty hard. So essentially, I start off 2 weapons long range, 2 to 3 weapons medium range, and at short range, all 4 weapons. Again, with decent speed, decent armor, for the tonnage and everything, and under 1,000 battle value. This tank is going to excel in every role. This tank is going to have an answer, not the answer or the best answer, but a answer to what you go against. Normal vehicle rules apply, of course. You get hit on the side, you take motive hits, stabilizers, turrets, things like that. But what's its only vulnerability? In my opinion, anti-infantry. If you can get a drop-off with a Karnov, or you can get some mobilized infantry up there, doesn't have any machine guns, doesn't have any flamers. Is that really a problem? Not if you're zooming by, or if you have your own anti-infantry or dedicated infantry in your lists, which, building on this podcast and a kind of a good way to fade out, I believe infantry. I believe regardless of the battle value, you can take 2 to 4 stands of infantry. Maybe jump and regular, or if you're spending a little bit more battle value, you get regular with some sort of delivery system, whether it's goblins or Karnovs or, some other type of transport on there. Infantry play a major role in Battletech. So that kind of balances out the Manticore too, where, yes, we don't have the dedicated anti-infantry, but we have, or we should have, infantry units in my list. Your thoughts on an all-around solid performer? You don't know the mission, you don't know the opponent, you don't know the terrain. What the heck can you take so you don't get stuck like Fritz with a Demolisher out in like fields and farms, open terrain, and you're like, what the heck am I going to do now?